Few hours after I passed out, I slowly opened my eyes to a dark living room. I looked down and checked my phone, and my eyes pained by the brightness of the screen. 3:41 a.m. I sighed and realized I passed out on my couch. That explained the pain in my spine. I didn't have money for a chiropractor, so I decided maybe I ought to get my ass up and actually head to bed. I lay there for a few moments as I collected the motivation to actually get up and move. Thought about the fight my niece and I had a few hours ago. The little brat sure was pushy. Okay, I mean, let's not pretend that the last few weeks haven't been freaky. She tells me something's about to fall off the shelf, it does. She tells me to take a different exit off the highway, the one I usually take is clogged. She tells me not to get laid with the hot redhead I met on Tinder. She starts approaching my car with a switchblade. But I mean, come on. She could have seen the box of cereal was teetering. She could have checked her phone for possible road closures and accidents. And as for the killer girl, well, Tinder is a gamble anyway, so it could happen to anyone. Point is, even with all those crazy incidents of her knowing what's going to go down before it does, there's no real way of telling what could happen. Decided to sit up and stretch. I leaned my body lazily upwards and raised my arms, groaning softly and yawning. I needed to sleep in my bed. I had work in a few hours and I needed all the rest I could get so I could answer stupid questions and put DVDs back on walls. Netflix was going to put us out of business soon, so I might as well get all the most out of this job I could. Speaking of movies, I needed to return the flick I put in the DVD player before I passed out. I can't believe I fell asleep with the TV on. Which is why I found it so strange that the TV was off. That was weird. My TV was old. It wasn't a smart TV. I mean, it didn't turn off unless you told it to. And I was watching a DVD, not something off a streaming site. If anything, it would have just gone back to the main menu. Not only that, didn't I fall asleep with the kitchen light on? Why was it so dark in my apartment? I looked around the room and nearly shat myself when I saw a figure in front of me. I jumped and cursed quietly. I groaned angrily when I recognized the small frame. It was my niece. I opened my mouth to speak, but she beat me to it. "Don't talk," said Brooke. I blinked. This little punk was not telling me to shut up in my own house. Who the hell did she think she was? First that remark about me being childish, now this? I'd had enough. I got up and once again opened my mouth. "Unless you want to die anyway." I stopped, staring at her. A shiver ran down my spine. My brows furrowed and my dry lips parted slowly. I took a step toward her, and it was only then that I realized that even though she was turned towards me, her eyes weren't on me. They were looking behind me. "Do everything I say. If you do, you live. If you don't, you die. I know that because I've seen the future where you talk. You don't make it." I gulped. I looked down at her and nodded. Sweat started to run down my face, and I realized I was now at the mercy of an 8-year-old. She gestured behind her at my fireplace. "You can speak as long as you sound like you're talking to yourself and not someone else. Don't acknowledge me out loud. Repeat after me. Damn, when did it get so cold in here? Never thought I'd actually use the fireplace." I glanced at it and decided to walk toward it. I didn't really want to test whatever was waiting for me to turn around. Damn, when did it get so cold in here? Never thought I'd actually use the fireplace. "Light the log I put in there. Don't ask where it came from, just do it." I did as she asked, using the grill lighter convenient placed next to the fire stoker. "Pick up the fire stoker and start poking the log. Watch the fire for a while." Once again, I complied. I didn't understand what was happening, but I had this horrific thought playing out of my skull that if I didn't, I was going to make an ugly corpse. "Don't look towards me. Just keep playing with the log and fire. You need to listen to me. Anything I tell you, don't react. Don't make a sound. Don't even give away that you can hear me speaking. Pretend I'm not here no matter what I say. If you understand, say, 'Man, did I light this wrong?' I gulped. I shivered but opened my mouth, trying to remain composed. Man, did I light this wrong?
Uncle Zach, there's a demon in your house. He's been watching you sleep for a while.
I froze. The pang of fear that jolted through my body like a lightning storm was one of the most paralyzing feelings I'd ever felt. It was pure, unadulterated dread. I wanted so badly to look behind me. But even if I was stupid and decided not to heed Brooke's warning, I couldn't move.
Uncle Zach, keep poking the fire. You don't hear me, remember?
How the fuck was I supposed to keep stoking the fire after what she just told me? The living embodiment of evil was in my apartment and I hadn't even offered them a drink. Not to mention the fact that they'd been watching me snore for hours. To think I was at that thing's mercy was...
Uncle Zach, please.
I decided being scared was better than being dead. I prodded the log some more. The only comforting feeling in the house was that I had a weapon in my hand if I needed to use it. Doubt'd do too much good, though.
There are some rules demons have that you need to know about before you fight one. And before you freak out, yes, you're gonna have to fight him. I know it's scary, but I'll talk you through it. I can see the future, so I can tell you exactly what's coming and how to avoid it. So just listen. Rule 1, they can't see or hear me. They can sense me in the area with them, but once they sense me, they won't be able to find me no matter what I do. Rule 2, if they attack someone, they can't until they are seen and acknowledge that they exist. Demons can only hurt you if you know they're real. Rule 3, they have flesh and bone like any other living creature. That means even though that they're from hell, they can be killed and burned. There are a few others, but not as important as those right now. If you understand, say, what time is it? Did I leave my phone on the couch? Damn it.
I poked the log, processing what she had just told me. I had to play along. I had no other choice. What time is it? I said, trying as hard as I could not to sound shaky. Till I leave my phone on the couch? Damn it.
Now that you know the rules demons have to follow, or at least the important ones, you should know the rules we need to follow to survive. Because they can't see or hear me, they can't attack me unless someone says or does something that tells them where I'm at. So, rule 1, don't talk to me or look at me when fighting. You can listen to me all you like, though. Demons are predictable and aggressive when provoked, but remember that I can see the future. I can see every attack before it happens. So rule 2, do everything I tell you to do. Pretend it's a video game. I'm the player, you're the character. You don't do that, and you die. Rule 3, fire is effective. Use it when possible, which is why I had you start stoking the fire. Get that stoker nice and hot. You're gonna need it. Rule 4, demons won't attack you until you notice them and they acknowledge that you have seen them exist. If you know they're there and you hadn't seen them, prepare as much as you can before you turn around. They can't read your thoughts. They can only see your eyes meet theirs. There are many other rules after Rule 4, but only one more you need to know about right now. This is the most important one. Rule 5. Do not scream. Don't shiver, don't stutter, don't shake. Don't show any fear. If you do, well, it's like fuel, gasoline to them. And the more afraid of them you are, the faster and stronger they become. If you have to react somehow, just stare. Stare frozen and don't move. But don't scream. Whatever you do, do not scream. If you understand, say that ought to do it. Gonna lay back down.
What the fuck did I just listen to? I'm gonna fight a demon? This has to be a nightmare. I simply played too many games, seen too many movies, and drank way too much whiskey. But if this was real, this was actually happening, and I was about to engage this thing in a fight, all I can say is I'm glad I decided not to use booze as a sleep aid that night. I
I backed away from the fire, stoker still in hand. I backed up until I was next to Brooke. That ought to do it. Gonna lay back down. I never asked for this shit. I was perfectly content working at the last video store in the state. Perfectly content wasting my time getting drunk, watching TV, and picking up girls. This wasn't fair. Why did Grayson have to die? Why did my dad have a heart attack? Why am I the only one looking after my dead brother's kid? I could have gone back to school. Could have gone to church and got right with God. Shit, I could have made that stupid list from My Name is Earl drive around making up for all the bullshit I've done to people. But no. I was in my living room, but to duel a demon to the death and probably die. He won't just go away, Brooke said. You have to make him leave. I know it's scary, but you gotta fight him. Like I said, I'll talk you through it. I sighed, deciding I had to face the music eventually. I only wish he decided to invade my home during daytime. I imagine with birds chirping and the sun shining, the whole situation would just be colorfully sinister rather than bone-chillingly terrifying. I started to turn, but Brooke grabbed my wrist. I think I should warn you. He looks really scary. Like a person, but a big mouth, big eyes. He looks like he's smiling really big. I'm warning you, don't scream, okay? I nodded, clearing my throat. She released my wrist and stepped away. I inhaled deeply and remembered thinking, Mama, I'm coming home. I turned to face the inevitable. My eyes had adjusted to the dark since being awake, and the fireplace lighting the room helped. I wish it didn't. Because maybe, just maybe, if it was still dark, I wouldn't have to see the horror in front of me. Ever seen that stupid Jeff the Killer thing on the internet? That was based on whatever this thing was. He looked like a skinny, pale, naked man with gigantic wide eyes with tiny pupils and a horrific grin that was 5 times the size of a normal person's. It's easily the most daunting sight I'd ever seen. I reminded myself to thank Brooke for telling me what he looked like before I looked at him, because if I didn't have at least somewhat of an idea what I was getting into, I would have screamed. And it would have been the last thing I'd ever done. His arms laid aside gently, his body perfectly still like a statue. Felt like if I blinked, he'd close in on me. I did shiver softly, but tried my best to stay calm. My fight or flight had activated. I was a coward. I hated fighting, and arguments scared me. I hated any form of conflict at all, but apparently my body wasn't much of a pussy as I was. Between fight and flight, my body chose fight. I was in kill mode, and his head tilted to the side, his bulging, ghostly white visage staring a hole through me. I decided the worst thing I could do was stand there and wait. So I took a very slow step forward, my weapon ready. No, let him come to you, Brooke said. I wanted to ask why, but remembered Rule 1. Soon after I finish talking, he will lunge at you with his right arm high in the air and swipe downward. Don't duck and dodge to your left. Once you dodge, swing the stoker and hit him in the head if you can. I nodded. He's coming. 3, 2, 1. He shrieked and it startled me, even if I knew it was coming. He jumped off the back of my couch and his evil grin flashing in the fiery light. His arm raised high in the air and the time felt like it slowed. Move! Brooke cried. I dipped to the left and was so shocked by my speed that I didn't have time to register a counterattack. I swung the weapon, but he began moving and I only clipped his shoulder. 2 attacks. Left arm high, then right arm middle. Duck low, then dip backwards. Swing toward the right leg. His skinny left arm swung towards my head, and it was only then I realized how long and sharp his talons were. Those could have made me bleed out in seconds if he got me in the right spot. I ducked low, almost to my knees. His right arm came back and swung for my gut, and I didn't have time to dodge completely. So I struck my ass out backwards, hoping it'd give my stomach enough room not to get clipped. I got scratched, but it was only surface deep.
I wasn't able to counter, so I just jumped back.
You need to attack him or he's going to get you eventually. Quit being so passive,
Brooke brilliantly concluded. I really didn't need the play-by-play, so I groaned. Shut up already, I heard myself say. I immediately froze, as did Brooke. The demon looked around for her and began approaching her position, still searching for her. Brooke realized he was aware of her presence and slowly backed away until she accidentally knocked over a lamp, the glass crashing onto the floor and shattering. Her face spelled shock and fear, and the demon lunged at her. I ran over and swung my stoker with all my might that I could muster, and then smacked the back of his head with so much force I thought the metal would deform. He fell to the floor, groaning in what I hoped was pain and not annoyance. Brooke used that moment to scamper away. The demon got to his feet and faced me again. I think he realized he wouldn't get to Brooke if I was still here.
One attack. Stabbing motion towards the chest. Dodge to your right.
As she said, he lunged at me, but I forgot my left and my right in that single moment, and I dodged left. I immediately felt dread. I raised my stoker in a defensive position, which was apparently a good idea as he reached both hands out and grabbed at my neck, only grabbing the stoker. He wrestled me to the ground and was lunging his fangs at my head. I turned my head to the side, trying to escape his fetid breath and grotesque teeth. Brooke panicked and didn't say anything. I could have really used a cheat code right then. I used all my might to keep him at bay while looking over at her for guidance. That's when I realized Brooke wasn't in the spot she was before. I looked to my right to see Brooke at the fireplace, lighting some piece of paper from my kitchen table on fire. Once it caught flame, Brooke ran over, putting the flame to the demon's dome. He shrieked a painful cry and removed his hands from the stoker, instead holding his head. Even as he cried out, his smile never left his face. Kick his right leg out and move to your left. Your actual left! I hated the sarcastic remark, but it wasn't totally unwarranted. I reared my right leg back and slammed it into his knee, bending it completely backwards and breaking it. He fell off of me and I moved away, scampering to my feet. Back of the head! Hit him now! I raised the stoker and crushed the back of his head with it. Again! I swung again. Again! And again. Again! 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 Keep going! I didn't stop. My muscles began to cry out in pain from how hard and how rapidly I was striking him. My fingers strained at how intense my grip was on my weapon. My heart rate could have outrun a race car. His blood began pouring out of his fractured skull. It was black and viscous, soaking into my carpet. I realized that I had been hitting him, and she wasn't telling me to. I looked over at her as she pointed to the fireplace. Finish it before he recovers. Destroy the brain. I was so full of adrenaline that I didn't need to be told twice. I quickly jumped over to the fireplace and it stuck the stoker deep within the flame. I watched it for a few moments, the heat engulfing my face and body. I removed it from the fire until it was smoldering and glowing. I walked over to the demon and raised the stoker. He slowly raised his head, his horrific grin and wide eyes still on me. I looked him in the eyes and ran the stoker straight through his face in a swift, violent rage. I twisted it and pulled it until I jerked the stoker out and his body laid limp on my carpet. I dropped the stoker and fell backwards, my head hitting my end table. I winced from the pain and instantly reached my hands back and put pressure on the spot. Fuck! I groaned, inhaling sharply. Brooke walked over to me, kneeling down. Are you okay, Uncle Zach? No, I'm not okay! I yelled. I leave work one day thinking I'm gonna go home and relax, and I get told my brother died. Then I gotta go pick up his kid, and because her mom is too fucking drunk to drive. Then my dad, who barely even talks to me, has a heart attack and nearly dies out of nowhere, so I gotta play responsible father to this 8-year-old who can barely talk without sounding like she's from a fucking creepypasta. Then she has the ability to tell the future, and then annoys me for weeks by telling me what to do to avoid the slightest bit of fuckery. Then I wake up in the middle of the night and I get to spend my evening fighting goddamn Slender Man. I am fucking tired and I need a drink. I got up and walked towards my kitchen, and the only thing on my mind being a full glass of Jack D. You broke rules 1 and 2, I heard her say. You let him know where I was, and you didn't do what I said. If you did, the fight would have been over a lot sooner. Shut up! I said, unscrewing the bottle. You think I'm Buffy or something? I'm just some dude that works at a mom-and-pop Blockbuster, and... Oh, Jesus Christ. I have to work in 5 hours. I gotta cover for Jesse. I took a swig of whiskey, then rubbed the back of my head.
He just had to take a vacation day today. You're going to work? A demon just attacked us. Don't you think that's a good reason to take off?
You're not the one that pays bills around here. Speaking of bills, the only papers that were on the table were my light and electric bill. What did you burn him with?
Does it really matter?
Like I just said, you're not the one that pays bills. What did you burn? She walked over to me, giving me the charred half-paper remains of my light bill. Oh, come on.
Can't I get you a single break? Is this karma for pissing on the floor in high school? You peed on the floor?
The bathroom door was locked. What do you want to do? Tell the principal on me?
Can't you just ask for another paper?
They won't be able to send me another one until this one is due. I'm gonna have an overcharge.
Just pay it online like everyone else.
I don't know how to do that! My head hurts.
The alcohol probably isn't helping.
The alcohol is the only thing keeping me from knocking your head off your shoulders. If someone told me the amount of baggage you had with letting you live here was even a fourth of what it actually is, I still would have said no. Oh, shit! No, my carpet, his blood!
Don't worry, Uncle Zach. Once demons are dispelled from the world, all traces of them disappear. Blood, body parts, everything.
I walked over to where his body was and saw that it disappeared without me even noticing. Even the black blood was gone. At least I wouldn't be ordering new carpet. I sat down on the couch, bottle in hand. What the hell am I gonna do? I'm not ready to be a guardian yet, let alone some monster killer. Does this happen often?
My dad felt that way too at first. Well, the monster killer part. He was a lot nicer to me than you were.
Grayson and I are different people. For example, Grayson wasn't an asshole. And what do you mean monster killer? He was doing this shit too? She sighed, looking glum.
Language.
Don't language me after I got done saving your life from a movie monster.
My dad was really good at it, but he wasn't at first. It scared him and he made mistakes. But he got the hang of it after my aunt taught him.
Yeah, Grayson tended to catch on to things real fast. Wait, your aunt? Which one? I don't have a sister.
My mom's sister, not Grayson's.
Lucy taught him?
Yes.
Lucy is a monster killer?
A good one.
Shit. I knew she was weird, but this takes the cake. Would she know what to do?
Oh, definitely.
Finally, some good news. Call her.
I don't have her number.
I groaned, sitting up, taking a swig of Jack, and picked up my phone. Of course you don't. I found Lucy in my contacts and hesitated.
The call button is shaped like the phone.
You aren't near as funny as you think you are. Her and I, we don't get along too well.
Oh. Why?
Long story, it's a grown-up thing. She put her hands on her hips.
Well, maybe she'll understand.
Here's hoping. I hit the button and the phone rang. For her to answer the phone at 4 a.m., especially for me, was going to piss her off. I looked out the window. The sun hadn't started rising yet, but it would soon. I needed to get to sleep as soon as I could.
Hello?
A woman's voice grumbled on the other end. Lucy? I asked. A pause. She inhaled sharply.
Yeah, who is this?
Hey, it's Zach. I need to talk to you about something. A long pause. So long that it was making me uncomfortable. Hello? I asked. No reply. Hello? Lucy? Then I heard the call drop. I looked at the phone. This bitch.
What happened?
Brooke asked. She hung up on me. Does she think I'm pranking her?
Here, give me her number. I'll call her.
I did so, still very annoyed and exhausted. My body was ready to give out. Brooke started calling her, and a few moments later, she answered. I didn't hear what Lucy said, though.
Hello? Hi, Aunt Lucy. This is Brooke. I'm with Uncle Zach right now. Because my mom can't take care of me. It's okay. Can you come over? We got attacked by a demon. No, he's gone. Uncle Zach sent him away. I don't know. Okay, here's the phone.
She handed me her very cute and pink cell phone. I took it and put it to my ear. You ready to talk to me now? I asked sarcastically.
What's your address?
I heard her say, somewhat muffled. There was a lot of noise and ruffling in the background. I'll text it to you. When are you coming over?
I'm getting dressed. Stay awake.
As if I could pass out after what just happened. She hung up after that. I grabbed my phone and texted her my home address. I put my phone down and collapsed on the couch. I heard a noise next to me, and it was Brooke cleaning up the lamp. She looked over at me and shrugged.
I'm sorry I knocked it over. It was an accident.
I looked at her and waved my hand dismissively. You were scared and being stalked by a monster, I kinda understand.
You did good, you know, for your first monster. That could have gone a lot worse.
Well, shucks, I'm flattered, I said, exhaling. Hope it's my last.
Not likely, Uncle Zach.
And why not? Lucy's coming over to take your things and you're going with her.
What? But I'm living with you right now.
Yeah, not anymore. You said it yourself, Lucy is a monster killer. She adores you, from what Grayson used to tell me. No reason not to go with her.
But, Uncle Zach...
No buts. She's better equipped to take care of you. I'm not. I'm 23 and I've never even babysat anyone.
But
what? I demanded, turning toward her. She dumped the remains of the glass in the trash can, then sat down next to me. She slumped in her seat. I could tell I hurt her feelings. Felt like an asshole, and I sighed. Brooke, what's wrong? Why don't you want to go? She gestured to the room we were in.
I like it here.
I laughed. Better than living at home? I joked.
Yeah,
she said seriously. My smile faded and I leaned forward. Why?
My mom doesn't talk to me. She doesn't even look at me.
What? Why? I asked. She shrugged sadly. I knew she knew. Brooke? Why?
She blames me,
she said softly. I looked at her for a few seconds, trying to decode what to say to make her feel better. For your dad dying? I asked as delicately as I could. She nodded. I felt a stab in my throat, that feeling you feel when you're about to cry. This kid came off a bit weird, but maybe a bit controlling, but she was a good kid. To blame a child for their parents' death was a shitty thing to do. Brooke, it's not your fault. Your dad died in a car accident. You weren't with him.
I should have been.
Hey! I snapped. No, you shouldn't have been. You would have been hurt too. It's not your fault, kid.
But she thinks I could have called him or something,
she said, almost crying. Well, your mom isn't here. She isn't taking care of you. I am. And you're here in the place you like. You're not there anymore, and when Lucy comes, we can maybe talk about you visiting the place.
I don't want to go with her.
Why not? Why do you like it here so much?
You're here.
I stared at her for a few moments as she played with some fluff she found on the couch. This past month, I've had this girl here. We've been through every trial and error to try to feed her, spend time with her, and raise her to the best of my extremely limited ability. She's been nice to me for the most part, and I wasn't doing the same. I was just trying to dump her off on someone else. No wonder she felt so alone. Come on, Zach, get it together. I sighed, wrapping my arms around her shoulder. I'll talk to Lucy and see what she says. If she says you can stay, well, all right. I'm not a very good dad, though.
That's okay, because you're my uncle.
I tried to hide my smile, but I couldn't. Yeah, I guess so. She fell asleep a bit after that, leaning on my arm. I watched something stupid on TV for a while before I heard a knock at my door. Brooke snapped awake and stood up, and I did the same. I walked over to the door and opened it. On the other side, Hawooga. It was Lucy, but she didn't look how I remembered. She looked much, much hotter. She wore pajama pants and a loose t-shirt, but you couldn't hide that natural beauty she had. She stared at me for a while with her keys in her hand. She shook her head, impatient.
You gonna let me in, or am I gonna stand out here all night?
Oh, yeah, right, I forgot. Lucy's a bitch. I rolled my eyes and stood aside. She walked into the apartment, and Brooke ran up to her. Lucy knelt down and hugged her tight.
Hi, Aunt Lucy,
Brooke said happily.
Hi, honey. How are you? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay now. What kind of demon was it? Happy man? Lucy gasped dramatically. Were you scared? She asked, obviously trying to keep her in a cheery mood. I was a bit, but then Uncle Zach protected me and sent him away by stabbing his head. I'm sure you were very brave, honey. You did a good job. Are you sleepy? Yeah, I'm tired. Okay, why don't you go to bed? I'll call into school for you tomorrow and you can spend the day with me. Okay. Brooke scampered off quickly, going to her room. She shut the door, but I didn't hear it click. This little punk was going to spy on us. Brooke, I called out. Go to bed, no peeking. I want to hear that door shut. The door shut shortly after that. I opened my mouth to speak, and then I heard the door crack again. Brooke, bed. Don't make me take away TV tomorrow. I didn't know how to discipline kids, but I figured trying couldn't hurt. I heard the door close again, and it didn't reopen. I sighed. Okay, so, you had half an hour for me to get here, and you didn't put on pants? Oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. You know, I just got attacked by a monster, and you're worried about what I'm wearing? I'm coming down from a panic attack! Your breath smells like alcohol, she said, waving her nose. That's because I was drinking it. Want to know something else? You might even smell what I have for dinner. Isn't it funny how the human body works? You really want to do this right now? I groaned. You started it. She shook her head and I paced around the room. Okay, I'm on board with her seeing the future. She's proven it in spades. But why was there a demon in my house? Because they want her. I stopped, looking at her. I walked away once again and picked up my jack. I took a drink and kept it in my hand. Really? God, you are charming. You want me to make it through this or not? Fine. They want her. I nodded, not really understanding, but trying to. Why? I said. I didn't even ask it as a question, more of a statement. She's an oracle. I blinked. Oracle? She can see the future, events that haven't transpired. But unlike other oracles, she can influence and bend the future without affecting time or fate. I don't think there are any others like her. Okay. But what do they want with that power? What wouldn't they want with it? If they had her under control, she could allow them to take over anything they wanted. Hell is after her or something? She leaned on my table, dropping her keys on it. No. They're after her individually. They all want her for their own selfish desires. Some even fight each other for opportunities to grab her. Fuck me. Imagine being that young and having to worry about monsters trying to kidnap you. I know. And it's a lot worse than she lets on. His strength is... well, it's scary, honestly. I would have cracked. She said they can't see or hear her. Why? Oracles are pure of heart. Demons can sense those who are not. Which is why they saw you. Hey, watch it. Relax, I'm not throwing shade. Don't be so sensitive. They can see me too. They can see most people. I sighed. So what do we do? Do we just let her live life and hope we can kill whatever comes her way? Yes. But on top of that, I've been taking a more direct approach. Love when women speak in riddles. It's so hot. She rolled her eyes, scoffed, and pulled out her phone. She opened up her gallery and showed me some pictures. She swiped and swiped. Everything I saw were dead and completely demolished demons and monsters. Some were stabbed, some were slashed, some were shot, some were burned, shocked, crushed. She was good. I do research and find out where these bastards are, then I go on little road trips to find them. What you see here is what happens when I do find them. Jesus Christ. I know, productive, right? I even took up witchcraft to give me an extra edge. You're dedicated. To protect my niece? Absolutely. Not to mention if something got a hold of her, no telling what they'd be able to do. That's why I dispel them as often as I can. I squinted, looking between her and her phone. Dispel? You call that dispelling them? Demons don't die in this world. We destroy their mortal bodies and send their souls away, and later, they come back. It's a full-time job. I asked her if she wanted to go live with you since you're better at this. You want to be rid of her that bad? Are you that heartless that you can't take care of your own niece? Oh, get off your fucking high horse. You know as well as I do I did not ask for that. I was meant to be the delivery boy to get her from point A to point B. Then point B had a heart attack. I'm not a parent. Help me out here. She pursed her lips. Yeah, as much as I'd love to, she can't. I blinked, taking a sip. Why? I don't have a house, dude. I closed my eyes, trying to process what I just heard. What do you mean you don't have a house? I mean I don't have a house. Ton of fake IDs, ton of fake addresses. You have no idea how many random homes in America get all my bills and then dispute charges. So, where do you live? My RV. Or sometimes a motel if I'm feeling like treating myself. Fucking hell, Lucy. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me, he asks, with a bottle of whiskey in his hand, standing in the middle of his half-trashed apartment in his boxers. Fuck you. I just fought for my life and was made to take care of a kid I've never even met after my own brother died. Mind giving me a break? All right. She nodded, sighing. She looked at me softly. I'm sorry for your loss. Appreciate it. Would have been nice for you to not hang up on me when I tried calling you. Oh my God, can you blame me? Knowing how perverted you were in high school, how many times have you tried hooking up with me? Did you think maybe I was justified in thinking it was a booty call? What's a booty call? I heard a voice say. I looked to my right and Brooke was there holding a doorknob. Lucy and I flushed red and looked at each other. We laughed nervously. Nothing, Lucy stammered. It's just something grown-ups say to each other, like hanging out or something. Don't tell her that. She's gonna repeat it at school, I snapped. What, do you want to tell her the truth? She interrogated. I shrugged and sighed, annoyed and flustered. Brooke, what are you doing up? You guys are loud. Oh. Sorry, I said, embarrassed. I realized at that point I had a light buzz. My words were starting to slur. Lucy beckoned her. Come here, honey. You deserve to be a part of this conversation, too. Brooke walked over to us and sat at the table. Can I stay with Uncle Zach? Lucy and I exchanged glances. Before I could reply, Lucy answered for me. We're still discussing that, she said softly. I like it here. I like living with him. He talks to me. I even feed her sometimes, I said jokingly. Lucy gave me a look that told me I wasn't funny. I gave her a look that told her that I was. It's just that I started school here recently and I already made a friend. I don't want to leave her, and I like my bed. It's comfortable. So can I stay here, please? Lucy nodded, smiling at her. We sure can, hun. I nodded. Absolutely. Anything to make easier on... We? Lucy looked over at me. I mean, I think you'll find it's easier on us, not easier on we. I know how it's said! What, do you speak French or something? What's with this we stuff? I told you I don't have a house. I live in my RV, traveling around, trying to keep the demon population low. More than you're doing. I didn't even know about this shit like half an hour ago. Language, they both said to me. I huffed. Fine. You can stay here for a bit, but I'm not changing anything about how I live. Nor do you have to, Lucy said, rolling her eyes. I'm not here to intrude on your chronic couch potatoism or your alcoholic lifestyle. I threw her a look full of daggers. I turned to Brooke and motioned her to bed. For real this time. Show's over. Go get some sleep. Okay. Good night, Uncle Zach. Good night, Aunt Lucy. We both waved her good night as she went into her room. I'll bring my stuff up in the morning, Lucy said. For now, I'm going to sleep. Where's the bedroom? My bedroom is the one right there. Her bedroom is the one she just came out of. I only have 2 beds. Oh, that's a bummer. She started walking toward my bedroom, grabbing the doorknob. Night. What? I said, almost sounding like a quacking duck. You lose your mind in there or something? I'm going to bed. Didn't you hear me? Are you that drunk? Bitch, are you serious? What part of my bedroom did you not understand? Oh, Zach. That's pretty damn out of character for you. You were never one to kick a woman out of your bed. Why start now? Yeah, when I'm in with her. Yeah, maybe in your dreams. The couch is behind you. I know where it is! It's my house, dipshit! She closed the door and I heard it lock. I gasped, walking up and knocking on it. Hey! This is a hostile takeover! This is bullshit! Open my door! There's not even blankets or pillows on my couch! Open up! It's fucking freezing! The door briefly opened and a set of blankets and pillows blasted me in the face, closing again. I grabbed them and looked at the door, pissed off. You know what? I've been wanting to sleep on the couch anyway, so it's fine. See if I give a shit. I walked over to the couch in a false victory that I knew deep down was a bitter defeat as I laid on the uncomfortable couch, head on an old pillow covered by a crusty, unclean blanket. I picked up the remote and pointed it at the TV. Wonder what's on. I fell asleep before I ever turned it on.